Living alone, I expected quiet, some freedoms, and a little bit of loneliness. But what I did not expect was how much it would actually change me. And I don't mean in the hideous robe and cat way, though there's a little bit of that. I'm talking about the surprising way in which living alone has made me more connected, more capable, and a little tougher than I ever expected to be. If you live alone, or you're doing all the work of life alone, then maybe you've felt some of these things too. Because one of the first things to surprise me, surprise number one, is becoming more competent at all kinds of things I didn't expect. I can do some minor plumbing, as it turns out. I had a drip that was driving me crazy, the kind that you can hear all night long and it keeps you up. It's like a horror movie, drip, drip, drip. It's driving me crazy. So I obsessed at work. I YouTubed the devil out of it. And I figured out the parts I needed, I ordered them, and if you've ever done something like this, it was just this faucet that needed to be tightened. I needed to change something called a canister inside. Everybody said what you have to really be careful, turn the water off under the sink, then you can take off the faucet, fix the canister. So you tighten and you turn on the water, you tighten, you turn on the water, you test it, and finally you think this is it. So you try it and you're so excited, you drip, and if you're not careful, the entire thing shoots like a geyser to the ceiling, water everywhere. And I know this because it happened. Yeah, it was like a cartoon. It was like a I Love Lucy moment. It was horrible and hilarious and awful. And I scrambled down and turned off the water. Yeah, it was everywhere. Silver lining, my faucet didn't drip anymore. The ceiling dripped, and in the end, my entire bathroom was cleaner than it's ever been. Yeah, so I learned some minor plumbing. I do have to hire the occasional repairman around here, mostly because, did you know that 1 in 5 home buyers is a single woman? Yeah, well, they didn't design homes for people that are 5'2". So there's a lot of things that I cannot do around here. I know that they didn't design for 5'2" because they wouldn't put the filter that you have to change every 6 months in the ceiling with an odd door that I don't have the wingspan to tighten the screws back up every time I go to change the filter. My entire life would be different if I had a reliable handyman, but as I said, the surprise to me is that how capable I've become. I can hire handymen better than I was able to in the past. I know what questions to ask. I know how to research everything. So, surprise one, I am way more capable than I thought I would ever be. Surprise two, scary moments teach you how to build a network. So one of the worst things about living alone is the scary stuff that happens in the night. And that is, in California, can be earthquakes. It's often around this building, idiots that have burnt their midnight snack and let the whole building alarm go off. Those kind of noises, those kind of things. I have found a network of ladies that live in this building. There's several right near me that are also single women of varying ages. And we have each other's texts, and it's been really nice to be able to, did you hear that? Text, did you feel that? And it is awesome to have people to ask those noises, sounds of in the middle of the night. I have a few friends that would make me text them when I leave their house or leave an event and tell them I got home safe. They are also the ones that text or call me after an earthquake, asking me if I'm okay, if I felt that, if anything, I was nervous. And I used to think that was overkill and like, oh, I'm fine, I'm tough, I can handle it. But what's surprising is how comforting that is. Just having somebody check in on you, knowing your comings and goings, and just the reassurance that if something happened, I would have somebody to count on. It's awesome. The surprise was the great network of friends that I've made that I can count on and that show up for me. If community is something you're concerned about in your retirement, I have made a great quiz that goes over all the aspects of what is in a good retirement and for greater well-being. It's a fun little free quiz. I've pinned it below, and make sure you check it out. Lots of fun. Surprise 3, can I get a witness? A witness problem. So I have the audacity to find myself hilarious. And what happens is kind of like the plumbing thing. This stuff happens to me all the time, and nobody is there to enjoy it or to share it with. And that can be a bummer. And so what I have found, I send, there's certain friends that anything that's about hair or whatever, I know she's gonna die. I know this happens to a lot of people. It's not just single people. My sister and I find each other hilarious, and I get messages from her because her husband and her daughter didn't think this thing was nearly as funny as I would. And of course I laugh my face off. So the surprise is that I have culled a great group of witnesses to the everyday foibles. Now, that is not to say that sometimes it doesn't get a little lonely when you see a beautiful sunset. You read this amazing part in a book. You see a baby lamb or any of those things, an amazing harvest moon. Those things, yeah, I do sometimes get a little wistful. But loneliness happens, and loneliness happens to us all. So here's what I've learned. You can cultivate your witnesses. You can get a group of people that gets your humor, that loves that harvest moon as well, that understands that this text, this random text, is an answer to the Jeopardy question you're trying to prove that you got before they tell you on the TV the answer. Yeah, I do that. And honestly, I have been in the relationship where the person on the couch doesn't find what I find funny. It is way worse to be with an eye roller than in an empty room. And finally, surprise number 4. Surprise 4. Solitude is different when you choose it. This one surprised me the most. Research actually backs up the fact that solitude that is chosen is associated with lower stress, greater self-awareness, and emotional regulation. That doesn't mean that being in solitude promotes that. It's just that if you choose the solitude, then those feelings of emotional regulation and less stress are the consequence. If you don't choose it, I have a suggestion for you. How about you decide to choose it? Because if you're going to be alone after a breakup, we've all had that fling yourself on the floor, sad, upset, and it is upsetting. But once you let yourself choose the state that you're in, a friend of mine is one of those people that calls me after an earthquake. She says all the time, you can't get that time back about everything. And it is so true. Whatever state you're in, one day you're going to wish about that state. You're going to feel like, oh, I wish I had really taken advantage of the time I was alone, because you never know what life holds for you, whether it's a great romance or an inherited few children. Who knows? Who knows where you're going to be? But enjoy the piece of where you are now and what you can learn from it. That is the best lesson of all of this stuff. So I try to remember that when I'm sad and think about, I choose this, and I'm going to choose to lean in, take advantage of the emotional regulation of my own emotions and not everybody around me, to enjoy the peace and quiet, to enjoy the community that I've cultivated, and embrace the peace that comes with all of that. So that was surprising. But the most surprising thing about living alone isn't what I've done without, but it is what living alone made me into. I'm more capable, more intentional, more connected to others and myself than I might otherwise have been. So for now, I'm leaning into that. I'd really love to hear from you. What surprises you most about living alone? And if you don't quite live alone, what surprises you most about having to carry most of life on your own? I'd love to hear it in the comments. I do read every one of them. And next week, we're going to talk more about this planning retirement alone, even if you're not single. This is not just a single woman phenomenon. I love sharing this journey with you. Together, we're building a life we love. This is GenX Missy reminding you that if you start now, we can retire happy.